Blade is a force to be reckoned with due to his unique blend of abilities, skills, and, well, vampirism. As a Dhampir, he possesses enhanced strength, speed, and agility, making him a formidable combatant, both in close range and long range. His scents are heightened to superhuman levels, granting him exceptional perception and tracking abilities. Blade's mastery of various martial arts, weapons, and tactics further elevates his combat prowess. Driven by the tragic loss of his mother and fueled by a desire to protect humanity from the undead, Blade relentlessly hunts and eliminates vampires with a single-minded focus. With his brooding persona, dark humor, and nature, he is a legend as far as vampire hunters go. But how exactly did Blade become what he is? What's his secret to his skills, powers, physiology, and anatomy? In this video, we will explore everything there is to explore about Blade's anatomy. So without further ado, let's begin the fantastic journey. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Is Blade a vampire or human? The question itself is enough for comic fans to conclude that Blade straddles both the worlds. In Marvel Comics, Blade emerges as half vampire, half human hybrid, bearing the genetic remnants of a grim and sad event. His poor mother was attacked by a vampire while she was carrying Blade in her womb. She managed to survive the gruesome and near-fatal attack, but the vampire had done its job, and his powers passed down to Blade, giving the child a fascinating blend between a human and a vampire. In the initial years, Blade was essentially a human with vampiric powers. Blade's true transformation took place when he inadvertently ingested the blood of his notorious biological father, Deacon Frost, a powerful vampire lord. The result? A jaw-dropping upgrade in power, propelling him far beyond the limits of your average bloodsucker. Blade became a force to be reckoned with, swift, mighty, and armed with an arsenal of vampiric abilities. Among his newfound gifts was a heightened ability to sense the presence of vampires, just like those creatures of the night. No sneaky bloodsuckers could escape his razor-sharp intuition. But of course, that's not all. Our dear Daywalker unlocked a remarkable ability known as the vampiric state. Transforming into a winged, fanged creature in his vampiric form, he could indulge in a unique feeding frenzy, extracting strength and knowledge from his prey's blood. But let's not forget his on-page adventures. In the comics, Blade's origin takes a slightly different twist. As a human-vampire hybrid, his blood boasts potent enzymes that grant him immunity to normal vampire bite. His attunement to the supernatural, resistance to aging, and his recent encounter with the bite of Morbius have bestowed upon him many of the classic vampire powers without the drawbacks. Yep, that's correct. In the comics, it's Morbius who bites Blade, but his mother was feasted upon by Deacon Frost, who was masquerading as a doctor. As his mother gave birth to Blade, Deacon sucked her blood, which passed the vampiric enzymes into Blade. Is he different from normal vampires? No matter how many vampires we see in shows, movies, and comics, most of them have a particular set of supernatural powers and vulnerabilities, especially vulnerabilities. You know, garlic, silver bullets, sunlight, that sort of thing. And Blade is inherently a vampire. I would say he's more vampire than human, but he is immune to these vulnerabilities. Among these, his greatest sidekick is his immunity to sunlight, while his evil brethren may drop dead like a husk or get incinerated upon exposure to direct sunlight. Our guy here stands tall and beats the crap out of other vampires. Additionally, while the run-of-the-mill bloodsuckers may have a serious case of allergy to silver, Blade would get hurt by silver blades and bullets only as much as a regular human would. On the other hand, his vampire enemies would suffer some serious damage when attacked with the silvery stuff. And of course, he's also immune to religious objects and icons, unlike other regular vampires. Well, it makes sense because he's essentially a good guy who wants to help people. In this regard, he's similar to Nightcrawler, who is supposed to be the son of a demon-like mutant, but Nightcrawler himself was a devout Christian and even went to heaven after his death. Of course, he came back to Earth, lost his soul for that, and became immortal. But I digress. So why is it that Blade is a Daywalker with so many different abilities and strengths? Well, he is not merely a half vampire. He's in fact a Dhampir. These are people born to human mothers who have mated with male vampires. This is precisely the reason why he's one of the extremely rare Daywalkers across franchises. Does Blade drink human blood, vampire blood, or something else? As far as vampires go, Blade stands tall as a righteous daywalker amidst a sea of nocturnal bloodsuckers. While Blade may be a vampire, he's not your typical blood-sucking fiend with a thirst for human blood. Blade is far too cool for that. Instead of sinking his fangs into unsuspecting necks, he opts for a more ethical dietary choice: animal blood. Blade satisfies his vampiric cravings with a nice glass of O positive from a cow. Now, when our man Blade indulges in a blood-sucking session, something extraordinary happens. It's like a supernatural power-up, a transformation dubbed the Blood High. This crimson cocktail gives him a temporary boost, allowing him to tap into the abilities of the creature whose life juice he's sipping. During the Blood High, Blade experiences a surge in strength, speed, agility, and healing prowess. Not only that, but his senses kick into overdrive, granting him superhuman vision and hearing to track down his prey like a bloodhound on steroids. But with great power comes great, risks. See, Blade has to be careful not to get too addicted to the Blood High. It's like a supernatural narcotic. An excessive consumption of a specific blood type can lead to some serious consequences. We're talking about losing his cool and becoming a mindless vampire, like a hopped-up Dracula on a rampage. And nobody wants that. To keep things in check, Blade relies on a trusty serum. This special concoction provides him with all the nourishment he needs without resorting to chomping on unsuspecting victims. If Blade goes too long without a sip of the serum or a satisfying gulp of blood, he weakens and risks losing his self-control. A single vial of the serum can sustain him for a full day of intense combat or help him recover from some seriously gnarly wounds. Can he make vampires? Although the answer to this question is not as straightforward as sinking one's fangs into a juicy neck, we would still sink our teeth into this matter. In Marvel Comics, Blade's vampirism comes from Morbius, the scientifically created vampire, and Morbius has been known to turn others into vampires by giving them a bite. So, by that logic, Blade should have the potential to do the same. Now, here's where things get interesting. In the Marvel Comics, Blade is described as a daywalker, a unique blend of human and vampire genetics. While there's no explicit mention of him turning others into daywalkers, some fans have delved into the depths of genetic analysis to speculate on the possibilities. You see, there are two types of vampires in the Marvel Universe: supernatural vampires and scientifically created vampires. The former are your classic bloodsuckers with a beef with religious symbols and house entry rules, while the latter are more modern, not bothered by traditions and trinkets. So let's take a closer look at the evidence from the on-screen portrayals of Blade. In the Bad Blood storyline, Blade encounters a gang that he ends up feeding on, effectively turning them into vampires. They start wearing sunproof gear, and Blade's weapons work just as well on them as they do on any regular vampire. So it seems he can turn people into vampires. Furthermore, Blade's infection occurred before or during his birth, resulting in a unique genetic and cellular mutation. He himself is mutated, not just carrying the virus. This becomes evident when a serum meant to control the virus in newly infected humans proves ineffective for Blade. But let's not forget about Deacon Frost, the vampiric troublemaker who essentially created Blade. He believed that Blade's blood held the key to becoming a daywalker like him, and the Daystar bioweapon in the third movie couldn't touch Blade either. Now, despite all this speculation, there have been no concrete instances of someone turning into a daywalker like Blade. Other attempts to replicate his traits have led to some outlandish results, but nothing quite like the leather-clad hero. Does he have regenerative ability? Like his fanged counterparts, Blade possesses a remarkable regenerative healing factor. This supernatural ability allows him to mend mild to moderate injuries at a lightning-fast pace. Severe slashes and puncture wounds magically heal within a matter of minutes to hours, depending on the severity of the damage. Wolverine himself, the master of regeneration, acknowledged Blade's impressive healing abilities during their clash in the epic Civil War storyline. Coming from Wolverine, that's high praise. Having said that, he cannot regrow missing limbs or organs. In Marvel Comics, there's evidence to support this claim. When Blade was kidnapped by Lucas Cross, he found himself in a predicament. Cross's nefarious plan involved forcing Blade to give into his thirst for human blood by imprisoning him with a virgin. But Blade is not stupid and had a trick up his sleeve, or rather in his mouth. He bit his own hand, freeing himself from the restraints and making an escape. However, despite his resourcefulness, Blade's regenerative abilities fell short when it came to regrow his lost limb Sadly, growing a new hand proved to be beyond the reach of his healing powers. During the Civil War saga, Blade joined the ranks of registered superheroes, and S.H.I.E.L.D. came to his aid. They lent him a helping hand, quite literally, by replacing his missing limb with a small machine gun. Yes, you heard that correctly. Later on, the United States government graciously provided Blade with a robotic replacement hand, because even the authorities understood the importance of keeping the vampire hunter fully armed and ready for action. Does Blade have any romantic relationships? Can he reproduce? While most superheroes struggle to find the right balance between saving the world and finding love, Blade has taken a different path. He has dedicated his entire existence to eternal battle against vampires, rejecting human connections like a particularly sharp stake through the heart. But as with all good stories, there have been moments when Blade found someone brave enough to stand by his side, despite the dangers involved. This happened in the form of Saffron Calder, Blade's first girlfriend, who made her debut in Tomb of Dracula issue 12. Saffron and Blade shared an intimate relationship, and their history was further explored in Marvel Preview issue 3. They met in a London nightclub, where Blade was captivating audiences with his trumpet skills. Sparks flew, and their connection grew stronger when Blade saved Saffron from the clutches of a despicable pimp. It was in Saffron that Blade found an ally who accepted him for who he truly was, a vampire hunter and a half-vampire himself. Saffron proved to be a beacon of support for the brooding Dhampir. She understood the weight of his mission, assuring him that his actions made a difference in people's lives. In those rare moments when Blade's stoicism wavered, Saffron was there to offer comfort and understanding. However, their relationship faced challenges, mainly due to Blade's tendency to disappear on missions without warning. The strain became too much, leading to a mutual breakup, with Saffron moving to New Orleans. But fate has a way of bringing people back together, even in the world of vampire hunters. Blade and Saffron would reunite briefly when a resurrected Deacon Frost threatened to seize control of New Orleans, but Saffron vanished once more from Blade's life. However, Avengers X-Men issue 1 suggests that Blade and Saffron's love story left a lasting legacy in the shape of Bloodline, Blade's daughter. While details about Bloodline and her relationship with Blade remain scarce, there are strong indications that Saffron is her mother. She may have become pregnant during their time together, before their paths diverged. In a promotional image, we catch a glimpse of Bloodline discovering a case filled with vampire hunting weapons, accompanied by a photograph of Blade and a seemingly pregnant Saffron. A note from Blade, signed as Eric, suggests that Saffron will keep their daughter safe. In Blade, issue 3, Blade revealed to his then-girlfriend, Susan, that he had killed Saffron himself. She had been kidnapped, drugged, and disguised as a vampire by a vengeful group of bloodsuckers. Though Blade deeply regretted his role in Saffron's death, this revelation adds a sinister layer to the relationship between Blade and his daughter. Bloodline may harbor feelings of revenge toward her father, even if she understands that he didn't intentionally kill her mother. That's bleak and grim, Marvel. Bleak and grim. Is he vulnerable to red sunlight? Blade is known for his resilience against the sun's harmful rays. However, he does have a chink in his supernatural armor, a near-fatal vulnerability to red sunlight. Red sunlight can bring him to his knees. Call it a special brand of kryptonite for Blade, if you will, much like Superman's weakness to the glowing red sun. This intriguing vulnerability was showcased during a space adventure that Blade went on, accompanied by Black Widow and Ghost Rider. As they cruised through the cosmos in the backseat of Ghost Rider's badass ride, Blade found himself weakened by the crimson-hued rays of red sunlight. Prolonged exposure to red sunlight can actually prove fatal for him. Does his sense work like vampires? Blade actually possesses a set of senses that would make even Dracula jealous. His superhumanly acute senses are finely tuned and take his perception to the next level, which adds to his combat skills. First, let's talk about his eyes. Blade's sense of sight is nothing short of extraordinary. He can sense objects with crystal clear clarity, even from mind-boggling distances. And even in the darkest of nights, when the average Joe can barely see their own hand in front of their face, Blade's vision remains sharp and unyielding. His hearing is equally remarkable. Blade's auditory prowess allows him to pick up sounds that would be completely inaudible to mere mortals. Blade's auditory prowess allows him to pick up sounds that would be completely inaudible to mere mortals. Then there's his olfactory senses. Blade's nose is a force to be reckoned with. Okay, that might be pushing it. Anyway, his olfactory abilities are so finely tuned that he can easily sniff out the differences between humans and blood-sucking fiends, even from a distance. But what sets Blade apart is not just his individual senses, but how he combines them to sense the supernatural. He can perceive the presence of otherworldly beings or forces that would go completely unnoticed by ordinary folks. Kinda like Spidey senses, but for the supernatural. Oh wait, I got another one. He's got fantastic senses. Is he immortal? While half vampires and Dhamphirs like him have an extended lifespan, they are not immune to the ultimate equalizer. Blade may not be immortal, but he sure knows how to defy death with style. He's been through some seriously rough scrapes and still comes out swinging. Take for example that time Dracula sank his fangs into Blade, draining his blood and leaving him for dead. Yet, Blade survived. His body is built to withstand punishment. He's got enhanced durability, which means he can take a beating that would leave humans in shambles. Blasts of energy, bone-crushing blows, extreme temperatures. Blade can handle it all, but it's not just his tough exterior that keeps him going. Blade possesses a natural immunity not only to the vampire virus, but also to most poisons, toxins, and diseases. This is thanks to his impressive healing factor, which might not be on par with Wolverine's limb regrowing abilities, but can still work wonders in patching him up. Furthermore, Blade can take care of himself because of his martial arts virtuoso. From his boxing and capoeira to his Eskrima and Krav Maga, this guy can throw down with the best of them. And he's no slouch with weapons either, boasting a vast arsenal of blades, firearms, and explosives. Now, as far as longevity, Blade's partial vampire heritage grants him a reduced aging process. Thanks to encounters with Deacon Frost and Morbius, the living vampire, Blade's blood has been infused with enzymes and vampiric traits. This not only gives him supernatural senses, but also slows down the sands of time ticking away. Having said that, Blade's path may lead him to a different fate than most. As he continues to age, the vampire virus within him might push him closer to full vampirism. Instead of succumbing to old age, he might transform into a creature of the night. Alternatively, Blade's human genetics may eventually give in to the ravages of time, leading to his physical demise. In this scenario, the vampire virus within him may continue to exist even after death, leaving the possibility of a resurrected Blade as a full-fledged vampire. Marvelous verdict. Born from the union of a vampire and a human, Blade stands as a rare hybrid between man and vampire, embodying the strengths of both species while bearing the burdens of their weaknesses. With this relentless pursuit of the undead and his brooding personality, Blade has become an icon as far as vampire hunters go. Whether he remains a Dhampir, transcends into full vampirism, or faces the inevitability of aging, one thing is certain: Blade's anatomical makeup is an integral part of his identity as the Daywalker, forever destined to roam the shadows in his eternal quest to protect humanity from the darkness that lurks in the night. The upcoming portrayal of Blade by Mahershala Ali is something I'm personally looking forward to, as Ali's exceptional acting skills and versatility makes him a near-perfect fit for the complex character. Do you think he'd be as good as Snipes, or better? And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks, everyone.